first grade class, a man in a laboratory coat came in and said, excuse me, how many poor readers do you have in this class? And the teacher would say, oh, I think I've got about 8. Yeah, I'd say 8. By the way, why are you asking? He said, I'm from the state. I need to know how many prison beds we're going to need in 20 years. I don't think that's true, but it's statistically likely. The less well that person reads, the more likely she or he is to do terrible things and make mistakes. I mean, your family's quality of healthcare depends on your literacy. I mean, you can document this. Your quality of the work you get, your employment possibilities, the income you make, even your likelihood of going to prison. If you actually talk to some of the people, some families that don't read very well, maybe they don't have any books at home at all, and they don't read to their children, and their children don't do very well in school. They don't make much money, maybe they don't have any jobs, all the negative things are there. And you say, is reading a problem for you by any chance? They'll say, oh, no. And really, they'll say it. The very bottom on the test scores, 1 person out of 3 would admit that reading was a problem. The other 2 out of 3 would not. A woman anthropologist did a 10-year study. 10 years she was literally living in the bedrooms of poor people, poor readers and that. And she just documented how they just lived without literacy. And yes, their lives were unhappy, but it never occurred to them that if they had gotten more education, or if they went now and got more education, that their lives would be better off. I don't know about you, but whenever I write something, an email message, as soon as I hit send, I think, oh, I meant to say something else. And it's the way reading and writing work. When you write something down, you get to see what you were thinking, and then you have, oh, that reminds me of something else, and it lets you tease out more ideas. The same when people read, it reminds them of something maybe in their experience that the author did not intend at all, but it may make them think about things that were beyond the message of what's going on, and it makes them smarter. Literacy makes you smarter. You can actually test it. Get a group of people who love to read. Get a group of people who say they'd rather watch television, play tennis. And you can start asking them questions. 1, just about vocabulary, the words they know. 2, what they know about the world around them, the people in politics, about nature and the rest of them. And even if they're educated people, the people who read know far more words, know far more about what's going on in the world around them. We've got a study in America, some people from Cornell University did. They measured the sophistication of people's spoken language. You take a tape recorder of it, then run it through a computer, and you can say, okay, this is a very sophisticated word, that's not so sophisticated, that's a little bit less. And it turned out that a book for 5-year-old children had more advanced vocabulary in it than college-educated people talking to each other, than a television program for adults had in it. Any book has a richer vocabulary than anything we get from television or normal speech. I never blame teachers. Teaching is hard, and it takes a dedicated person with a lot of tenacity and a lot of love to do that as a profession. I think all of us need all the information and all the training we can get. We need all the backing we can get. We need all the materials that we can get. We also need a curriculum that works. I found, and I worked here, I taught here back in 2005 for a year. People who teach in primary schools are not required to take a course in university to know how to teach reading. They have an optional course, but they're not required to take it. Well, how are you going to do something if you're not trained to do it? So I really do think maybe we underappreciate how challenging teaching reading well is to all the children, especially those children who lack the background to do it easily. You need training for that, and you need support for that. And if teachers don't have it, then that maybe it's not their fault.